Picture this. It's 1989, and you're sitting in a cramped office at CERN, the European physics lab nestled between France and Switzerland. The Berlin Wall is about to fall, everyone's still using floppy disks, and the most advanced phone in your pocket is, well, there isn't one. Your pocket contains lint, maybe some Swiss francs, and definitely not a device that can access the sum of human knowledge. You're Tim Berners-Lee, a British computer scientist with a problem that's been gnawing at you for years. Scientists around you are drowning in information, literally papers stacked to the ceiling, data on incompatible computer systems, and nobody can find anything when they need it. Sound familiar? Yeah, except you can't just Google it. Google doesn't exist. Nothing exists. You're about to invent the solution that will fundamentally reshape human civilization, and you don't even know it yet. Before we dive into this beautiful mess of a story, smash that like button if you've ever wondered how we went from carrier pigeons to cat videos. Drop a comment telling me the weirdest thing you've searched for at 3 a.m. I promise I won't judge. Now grab your beverage of choice, settle in, and let's travel back to a time when the internet was just a bunch of computers talking to each other like awkward teenagers at a school dance. You walk into Tim's office on a typical Tuesday morning. The smell hits you first, that unique combination of stale coffee, overheated electronics, and the faint desperation of graduate students. The computer monitors glow with amber or green text on black screens. No windows, no icons, just pure text that would make your eyes bleed if you stared at it too long. Tim's been here since 6 a.m., not because he's particularly ambitious, but because the coffee machine works better before everyone else arrives and breaks it. He's staring at his next computer, a sleek black cube that cost more than most people's cars. Steve Jobs' latest expensive toy after getting kicked out of Apple, but Tim sees something different in this machine. While everyone else uses it to feel important, he's about to use it to accidentally change the world. The thing about CERN is that it's basically a small city of nerds. Thousands of the world's smartest physicists, all trying to understand how the universe works by smashing particles together at insane speeds. They generate more data in a day than most institutions see in a year. And here's the kicker, they all use different computers, different software, different everything. Imagine trying to share a recipe with someone, but you speak English, they speak Mandarin, and the recipe is written in ancient Sumerian. That's CERN's information problem. Tim's been watching this chaos for years. Scientists literally walking around with magnetic tapes under their arms, trying to find someone with a compatible computer to read their data. It's like watching people communicate via carrier pigeon while standing in the same room. Inefficient doesn't even begin to describe it. You're probably thinking this sounds like a job for a massive team of engineers, unlimited funding, and years of development. Nope, it's just Tim, his next cube, and an idea so simple that everyone else missed it. The beautiful thing about Tim's approach is that he's not trying to force everyone to use the same system. That's been tried. It failed spectacularly. Instead, he's thinking about something more elegant. What if we create a universal language that any computer can understand? Not for processing data, but just for sharing it. Like a digital Esperanto. Except this one might actually work. You lean over his shoulder as he starts sketching out the basics. 3 simple technologies that will work together. First, HTML, hypertext markup language, which sounds complicated, but is basically just a way to tell computers, hey, this is a heading, this is a paragraph, and this is a link to something else. It's so simple that a child could learn it. In fact, millions of children eventually will, building GeoCities pages that will assault your eyeballs with animated GIFs and auto-playing MIDI files. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Second, he needs addresses. Every document needs a home, a unique location where it lives. He calls these URLs Uniform Resource Locators. It's like giving every piece of information in the world its own postal address, except instead of waiting 3 days for delivery, you get it instantly. Well, instantly in 1989 terms, which means after your modem screams at you for 30 seconds, like a digital banshee. Third, and this is the clever bit, he needs a way for computers to actually fetch these documents. Enter HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's basically the rules for how computers ask for and receive information. Think of it as the etiquette guide for machines. Please, may I have this document? Certainly, here you go. Thank you very much. Except computers don't say please or thank you, because they're rude like that. Tim's supervisor, Mike Sendall, walks in and glances at the proposal Tim's been working on. The title reads, Information Management, a Proposal. Mike scribbles something on it and walks away. You peek at his note. It says, vague but exciting. This might be the most understated evaluation in human history. It's like looking at the first airplane and saying, weird, but it might work. What nobody realizes, including Tim, is that he's not just solving CERN's problem. He's creating the digital nervous system for the entire planet. Every tweet, every video, every late-night Wikipedia rabbit hole you've ever fallen down, it all starts here, in this cramped office that smells like burnt coffee and broken dreams. The really wild part, Tim could have patented this. He could have become the richest human in history, make Bezos look like he's running a lemonade stand. But he doesn't. He gives it away, for free, to everyone. Can you imagine having that kind of power, and just releasing it into the wild? It's like discovering fire, and instead of charging people for matches, you teach everyone how to rub sticks together. You watch as Tim starts coding the first web browser. He calls it World Wide Web, all one word, because spaces are apparently too mainstream. This browser isn't just for viewing web pages, it's also for creating them. It's like if Microsoft Word and Chrome had a baby, and that baby was raised by Swiss computer scientists. The interface is clean, simple, almost boring. No flashy graphics, no animated paperclips offering unsolicited help, just pure functionality. Christmas 1990 is approaching. And while everyone else is thinking about presents and family gatherings, Tim's putting the finishing touches on his creation. The first website is about to go live. You want to know what the first website in human history contains? Brace yourself for disappointment. It's not a cat video. It's not even interesting. It's a page explaining what the World Wide Web is. That's it. It's like if the first book ever written was an instruction manual for reading books. Meta doesn't even begin to describe it. But here's where things get interesting. Tim doesn't announce this with fanfare. No press releases, no TED Talks, no venture capital pitch decks. He just quietly makes it available on the internet, which, remember, is still just a network for academics and military folks. It's like announcing the cure for cancer in a medical journal that 12 people read. You're standing there watching history being made, and it's surprisingly calm. No explosions, no dramatic music, just a British guy in a Swiss lab typing away while everyone else is planning their holiday vacations. The URL of that first site, if you're curious, is info.cern.chat. It still exists. You can visit it right now. It's like a digital archaeological site, except instead of ancient pottery shards, you're looking at the foundation stone of the modern world. The page itself is almost aggressively simple. Black text on a white background, a few hyperlinks in blue. It looks like something a middle schooler could make in 5 minutes today. But that's the genius of it. It's so simple that anyone can understand it. Anyone can build on it. Anyone can improve it. Tim sends out a few messages to news groups, which are basically prehistoric Reddit forums. Hey everyone, I made this thing called the World Wide Web. You might find it useful. The response is underwhelming. A few people download his browser, play around with it, shrug, and go back to their regular work. It's like showing someone a seed and trying to convince them it's a forest. They just don't see it yet. But slowly, very slowly, something starts to happen. Other people at CERN start creating their own web pages. Nothing fancy, just basic information about their research, contact details, maybe a photo if they're feeling adventurous. It's like watching the first organisms crawl out of the primordial soup. Not pretty, but absolutely essential for everything that comes next. You realize you're witnessing something profound here. This isn't the story of a lone genius having a eureka moment. It's the story of someone seeing a problem, creating a simple solution, and then having the wisdom to let go. Tim doesn't try to control his creation. He doesn't form a company, doesn't seek investors, doesn't even trademark the name. He just puts it out there and trusts humanity to figure out what to do with it. Spoiler alert, humanity will do some incredible things with it, and also some incredibly stupid things, but mostly will use it to argue with strangers and look at cats. As you watch Tim pack up for the day, heading home to his apartment, you can't help but wonder if he knows what he's unleashed. The answer, surprisingly, is yes and no. He knows it could be big, but nobody, not even Tim, imagines just how big. In less than 30 years, this simple idea will connect billions of people, topple governments, create trillion-dollar companies, and fundamentally alter what it means to be human. It's now early 1991, and you're watching the web spread through CERN like a benevolent virus. Scientists are starting to get it. You can practically see the light bulbs flickering on above their heads. Wait, you mean I can link directly to my colleagues' research? I don't have to walk across campus with a floppy disk like some kind of data mule. Revolutionary. But here's the thing about revolutions. They often start in the most mundane ways. You're following a particle physicist named Paul, who just discovered he can put his phone number on a web page. This man has a PhD, has published papers on quantum mechanics, and he's excited about what is essentially a digital business card. But that excitement is infectious. He shows his colleague, who shows her supervisor, who mentions it at lunch, and suddenly everyone wants a web page. It's like watching the first person in the office get a smartphone. At first, everyone mocks them. Then, within 6 months, everyone has one, and can't imagine life without it. The early web pages are hilariously bad. Comic Sans hasn't been invented yet, so they can't even be bad in that specific way, but they find other ways. Lime green text on yellow backgrounds. Entire paragraphs in AOO caps, because someone hasn't figured out that's the digital equivalent of screaming. Images that take 17 minutes to load and turn out to be a blurry photo of someone's coffee mug. You spend an afternoon with Bernd Pollermann, who's creating what will become the second website in history. It's a phone directory for CERN, that's it. A list of names and phone numbers. You could fit the entire thing on a napkin, but putting it on the web means anyone at CERN can access it from their computer. No more calling the switchboard, no more outdated paper directories, just click and call. It's not sexy, but it works. The technical challenges are amusing in retrospect. Every browser has to be manually configured. You can't just download Chrome from the App Store, because App Stores don't exist. Chrome doesn't exist, and downloading anything takes longer than making a sandwich. A complex sandwich, with multiple layers and fancy mustard. Tim releases the browser source code to the internet, and programmers around the world start tinkering with it. It's like he's given everyone a box of Lego blocks and said, build whatever you want. Some build castles, some build spaceships, and some build things that definitely violate the Geneva Convention, but they're all building. At the University of Kansas, a student named Lou Montulli is working on a text-based browser called Lynx. Text-based means no images, no fancy formatting, just pure words on your screen. It sounds primitive, but it's fast. It works on basically any computer, and it doesn't crash every 5 minutes like some of the more ambitious browsers. You watch Lou demo Lynx to his professor, and it's like watching someone show off a calculator to people who've been doing math with an abacus. The speed is intoxicating. Click a link, boom, new page. No waiting, no loading bars, just instant information. Sure, you can't see pictures, but who needs pictures when you have the entirety of human knowledge at your fingertips? Okay, not the entirety, more like a few hundred pages about particle physics and academic phone numbers, but still. Meanwhile, at the Stanford Linear Accelerator Center, which is somehow an even nerdier place than CERN, physicist Paul Kunz is about to become the Johnny Appleseed of the American web. He visits CERN in September 1991, sees what Tim has built, and his mind is properly blown. You can see it in his eyes, that moment when someone realizes they're looking at the future. Paul races back to Stanford like he's carrying the Olympic flame. Within weeks, he sets up the first web server in North America. It's not much to look at, just a beige box humming away in a server room, but it's the beginning of something massive. It's like the first McDonald's franchise, except instead of burgers, it's serving information, and instead of making you fat, it's making you smarter, or at least giving you the opportunity to be smarter. What you actually do with it is your problem. The cultural clash is hilarious. European scientists approach the web with typical European restraint. Their pages are clean, functional, organized. American scientists immediately start adding blinking text and unnecessary animations. It's like watching the difference between a Swedish furniture store and a Las Vegas casino play out in HTML. You're sitting in on a meeting at NCSA, the National Center for Supercomputing Applications, where a young programmer named Mark Andreessen is pitching his idea for a new browser. He wants to call it Mosaic, and he wants it to display images in line with text. The older engineers look at him like he's suggested putting wings on a submarine. Images on the same page as text, that's madness. The bandwidth alone would be impossible. Mark doesn't care about impossible. He's 21, he codes like he's possessed, and he has the confidence of someone who hasn't failed at anything yet. You watch him and his friend Eric Bina pull all-nighters, living on pizza and Mountain Dew, which in the early 90s is basically programmer food groups 1 through 5. They're not just building a browser, they're building the browser, the one that will make normal people care about the web. The competition is heating up. Everyone wants to build the best browser, the fastest server, the coolest website. It's like the space race, except instead of reaching the moon, everyone's trying to reach everyone else. And unlike the space race, there's no clear finish line. It just keeps going, getting faster, getting bigger, getting weirder. At MIT, students are putting their course schedules online. At the University of Illinois, someone creates a weather website. At CERN, someone has the audacity to put up a page about their hobby, model trains. The purists are outraged. The web is for serious academic information, not your personal interests. Tim Berners-Lee watches all this and smiles. This is exactly what he wanted. Chaos, creation, democracy. Everyone adding their own flavor to the soup. Some of those flavors are terrible, like anchovy and chocolate, but that's the price of freedom. The protocols are holding up remarkably well. HTTP is handling requests like a champion. HTML is flexible enough that people can abuse it in ways Tim never imagined, and it still mostly works. URLs are spreading like a virus, showing up in academic papers, email signatures, even graffitied on bathroom walls. Yes, really. Nothing says the future is here, like finding a URL next to a crude drawing in a university restroom. By the end of 1991, there were about a dozen web servers in the world. A dozen. You could visit every website that exists in an afternoon. Try doing that now, and you'd die of old age before you finished looking at just the cat videos. But those dozen servers are like seeds in fertile soil. Each one inspires 2 more, which inspire 4 more, which inspire 16 more. It's exponential growth, but nobody's really paying attention yet. The mainstream media is still obsessed with things like the Gulf War and the dissolution of the Soviet Union. You know, minor stuff compared to the information revolution brewing in computer labs. You spend a day with Tim Berners-Lee as he travels to conferences, trying to evangelize the web. It's like watching someone try to explain color to people who've only seen in black and white. He shows them hyperlinks, and they ask why anyone would want to jump between documents. He shows them the global potential, and they ask if it works with their specific mainframe computer that was obsolete 5 years ago. The resistance isn't malicious, it's just human nature. People have been sharing information the same way for decades. Paper, email, FTP servers, sneakernet, which is the technical term for walking files over to someone on a floppy disk. The web seems like a solution looking for a problem, but Tim keeps pushing, with the patience of a saint and the persistence of a telemarketer. One conference at a time, one demo at a time, one convert at a time. You notice something interesting about the early web pioneers. They're not business people. They're not trying to get rich. They're academics, researchers, students, people who are used to sharing information freely. This will change, obviously. Boy, will it change. But right now, the web is still pure, still innocent, still focused on the free exchange of ideas, rather than the free exchange of your personal data for targeted advertisements. The infrastructure is laughably primitive by modern standards. Most servers are just regular computers that someone decided to leave on all the time. There's no redundancy, no load balancing, no content delivery networks. If someone trips over a power cord, a website goes down. If too many people try to access a site at once, it crashes. It's held together with duct tape and good intentions. But it works. Somehow, miraculously, it works. Information flows from Switzerland to California to Japan to Australia, following undersea cables and satellite links, bouncing between routers and switches, finding its way like water flowing downhill. It's beautiful in its simplicity and terrifying in its fragility. The phone companies are starting to notice something weird. Academic institutions are using more and more bandwidth, but not for traditional data transfers. It's this new HTTP thing, and it's growing fast. They don't know whether to be excited or concerned. On one hand, more traffic means more revenue. On the other hand, what if this thing gets so big it breaks their networks? Spoiler alert, it will get that big, and it will break their networks, repeatedly, and they'll make billions fixing and upgrading them. As 1992 arrives, you can feel something shifting. The web is about to break out of academia and into the real world. Entrepreneurs are starting to sniff around. Journalists are beginning to pay attention. Normal people, the ones who think a mouse is just a rodent, are about to discover that everything they know about information is about to change. Welcome to 1992, where the web is about to meet its first real test, the general public. You're standing in a Best Buy, watching a sales associate try to explain what the internet is to a middle-aged accountant who just wants to buy a computer for his kid's homework. The sales guy is sweating. How do you explain a global information network to someone who thinks a hard drive is something you do in bad weather? The accountant nods politely, buys the computer, and leaves, completely unaware that he's just purchased a portal to another dimension. The computer comes with a modem, which the family will never use because nobody knows what it's for, and the manual is written in what appears to be Klingon. This is the reality gap the web needs to bridge. It's not enough to be revolutionary, it needs to be usable by people who still have blinking 12 o'clock on their VCR. At the University of Minnesota, something beautiful is happening. They've created Gopher, a competing system to the web. It organizes information in neat hierarchical menus. It's like the web's more organized, less fun cousin. The one who color codes their sock drawer and has strong opinions about proper filing systems. For a moment it looks like Gopher might win. It's simpler, it's more structured, and it doesn't require learning HTML. Universities love it. Librarians adore it. It's spreading faster than the web. You attend a Gopher conference where everyone's convinced they're backing the winning horse. They have merchandise. Actual Gopher t-shirts and mugs. It's adorable and tragic, like watching someone invest their life savings in Betamax. But then the University of Minnesota makes a fatal mistake. They announce they might charge for commercial use of Gopher. It's a reasonable business decision, but it's like putting a toll booth on a highway when there's a free road right next to it. Even if the free road is bumpier and less organized, guess which one people choose? Tim Berners-Lee, meanwhile, is doing the opposite. He's at CERN convincing the directors to release the web protocols into the public domain. No patents, no licensing fees, no restrictions. It's like giving away the recipe for Coca-Cola, except this recipe can change the world. The meeting where this happens is surprisingly boring. A bunch of physicists in ill-fitting suits, discussing intellectual property law. You want there to be dramatic music, maybe some slow-motion shots, but it's just people signing papers while someone's stomach growls because it's past lunchtime. On April 30th, 1993, CERN officially announces that the web is free for everyone, forever. No takebacks. This single decision might be the most important thing CERN ever does, and yes, I'm including that whole finding the Higgs boson thing. You can discover all the particles you want, but freeing the web impacts literally billions of people. Back in Illinois, Mark Andreessen and Eric Beener are about to release Mosaic to the public. They've been coding like maniacs, and the result is gorgeous. Well, gorgeous by 1993 standards, which means it has colors and buttons that actually look like buttons. The killer feature, images. Real images right there with the text. No more clicking a link, waiting 5 minutes, and opening a separate program. It's all integrated. Revolutionary doesn't even begin to describe it. The first time someone sees an image load inline on a web page, their reaction is always the same. Their eyes go wide, their mouth opens slightly, and they lean forward like they're seeing magic, which, in a way, they are. You're turning pixels into meaning, data into understanding, code into human connection, and it's happening right there on their screen. January 23rd, 1993. Mosaic is released for free download. Within weeks, web traffic increases by 341,634%. That's not a typo. The web goes from academic curiosity to global phenomenon faster than you can say exponential growth. Servers are crashing left and right because nobody expected this level of interest. It's like preparing dinner for 4 and having 4,000 people show up. You're watching system administrators scramble to add more servers, more bandwidth, more everything. The University of Illinois server hosting Mosaic is getting hammered so hard it's affecting other research projects. Professors are complaining that they can't run their simulations because too many people are downloading a web browser. It's the best problem anyone could hope for. Mark Andreessen is 22 and suddenly famous in tech circles. He's getting job offers from companies that didn't exist 6 months ago. Everyone wants the kid who built the browser that's eating the world. He ends up leaving for Silicon Valley, where he'll co-found Netscape and become ridiculously wealthy. But that's a story for another chapter. Right now, in 1993, the web is still weird and wonderful and wild. People are building websites about everything. Their research, sure, but also their hobbies, their pets, their conspiracy theories about how the Denver airport is actually an alien landing pad. The early web has no filters, no algorithms deciding what you should see, no SEO optimization. It's just people sharing what they care about. You stumble across a website about someone's collection of ceramic elephants. It's 17 pages long, with detailed photos and descriptions of each elephant. It's completely insane and absolutely perfect. This is what Tim Berners-Lee wanted: humans being human, sharing their passions with strangers across the planet. The business world is starting to circle like sharks smelling blood. Pizza Hut creates one of the first commercial websites. You can't actually order pizza on it, that would be crazy, but you can look at pictures of pizza and find your local store's phone number. It's essentially a digital billboard, but it's a start. Lawyers are freaking out about jurisdiction. If someone in France visits a website hosted in Japan about a company in Brazil, whose laws apply, nobody knows. The web is creating legal paradoxes faster than courts can resolve them. It's beautiful chaos. Musicians are starting to share their music online, not MP3 circs. Those don't exist yet, but MIDI files and tracker modules. The sound quality is terrible, like listening to music through a kazoo wrapped in aluminum foil, but it's free and instant. The record industry isn't worried. How could this possibly threaten their business model? Oh sweet summer children, you visit a computer lab where students are learning HTML. The instructor is explaining tags like their ancient mysticism. To make text bold, you surround it with these special symbols. The students are typing carefully, checking their syntax, hitting refresh to see if it worked. When someone successfully creates their first hyperlink, they act like they've discovered fire, and in a way, they have. The culture clash between the old internet and the new web is fascinating to watch. The old-timers, the ones who've been on Usenet and bulletin boards for years, they're suspicious of all these newcomers with their fancy graphics and mouse clicking. Real internet users type commands, "Thank you very much." They're like vinyl enthusiasts, looking at people buying CDs. Sure, it might be more convenient, but where's the soul? The flame wars are epic. Is the web killing the internet's authentic culture? Are images destroying the purity of text-based communication? Should commercial websites be allowed? These arguments rage across newsgroups and early web forums, with all the passion and fury of people who have way too much time on their hands. Meanwhile, normal people are just discovering email and losing their minds. You can send a letter instantly to anyone for free? The postal service is watching nervously, like a horse and buggy driver seeing his first automobile. They have no idea what's coming. AOL is sending out millions of CDs, trying to get people online. Those CDs become coasters, frisbees, and avant-garde art projects. But some people actually install them, hear the screech of a dial-up modem for the first time, and enter a new world. The sound of a modem connecting becomes the soundtrack of the decade. That electronic handshake, two machines negotiating their connection, it's like listening to robots falling in love. You're at a family dinner where someone mentions they have a website. Everyone stops eating. A website? Like on the computer? What does it do? The proud website owner explains it's just information about their model train collection. The family nods politely, confused but supportive. Why would anyone want to look at that? Because they can. That's the answer to every question about the early web. Why would someone put their diary online? Because they can. Why would someone share their recipe for potato salad? Because they can. Why would someone create a shrine to their favorite TV show? Because they freaking can. The tools for web development are primitive but democratic. Notepad and patience are all you need. There's no App Store gatekeepers, no platform requirements, no terms of service to agree to. You write HTML, you upload it to a server, and boom, you're a publisher. You're part of the worldwide conversation. The mistakes are glorious. People forgetting to close tags, creating pages that scroll infinitely to the right, background images that make text completely unreadable, auto-playing music that starts at full volume and scares the living daylights out of anyone who clicks the link. But each mistake is a learning opportunity, each broken page a step toward understanding. The early web is teaching millions of people to code without them even realizing it. Kids who can barely spell are learning HTML tags. Grandmothers are discovering hexadecimal color codes. It's the largest unintentional computer science education program in history. By the end of 1993, there are over 600 websites. 600. The growth is insane. If you tried to visit them all, it would take you days. The web is becoming too big for any one person to explore completely. The age of discovery is ending, and the age of search is about to begin. But that's still in the future. Right now, in this moment, the web is small enough to feel intimate but big enough to feel important. It's the sweet spot, the golden age, the moment before commerce really takes over and turns everything into either a store or a billboard. It's 1994, and you're about to witness the web's awkward teenage years. Netscape is born, and with it, the browser wars are about to begin. You're in Mountain View, California, in a building that still smells like fresh paint and venture capital money. Mark Andreessen and Jim Clark are building something that will either revolutionize the internet or spectacularly implode. The smart money is on implosion. Jim Clark is a legend who already founded Silicon Graphics, and Mark is the wunderkind who built Mosaic. Together they're like Batman and Robin, if Batman was a middle-aged entrepreneur with a yacht obsession, and Robin couldn't legally rent a car yet. They're building Netscape Navigator, and they're doing it with the urgency of people who know Microsoft is watching. The coding sessions are legendary. Engineers sleeping under their desks, living on a diet that would horrify a nutritionist. The office looks like a computer exploded, and nobody bothered to clean up. Cables everywhere, monitors stacked on top of each other, and enough empty pizza boxes to build a small fort. But there's electricity in the air. Everyone knows they're building something special. October 13th, 1994. Netscape Navigator is released. It's not just better than Mosaic. It's faster, smoother, and it has features that make web developers weep with joy. Cookies, which sound delicious but are actually just tiny files that remember who you are. JavaScript, which despite the name has nothing to do with Java, because naming things in tech is apparently hard. SSL encryption, making it theoretically safe to put your credit card number into a website. Theoretically, the download counter on Netscape's website is spinning like a slot machine. Millions of downloads in weeks. The servers are melting. The success is so overwhelming that they have to beg mirror sites to help distribute the browser. It's like trying to hand out free money and being trampled by the crowd. Meanwhile, in Redmond, Washington, Bill Gates is having what can only be described as an oh crap moment. He's been dismissing the internet as a fad, something for academics and nerds. Windows 95 is about to launch without a web browser. Microsoft, the company that owns personal computing, is about to miss the most important technology shift of the decade. You can practically hear the emergency meetings being called. The famous Gates memo, the internet tidal wave, is being written. In it he basically says, drop everything, We need to own this space. It's corporate panic dressed up in business speak. Microsoft starts building Internet Explorer, and by building I mean they license the Mosaic code and start frantically modifying it. It's not pretty, it's not innovative, but it doesn't need to be, it just needs to exist and be free. Actually, better than free, it needs to be bundled with Windows. Back at Netscape, they're riding high. The Office has that energy you only get when you know you're winning. They're adding features faster than users can figure out what they do. Frames which let you divide the browser window into sections. Everyone immediately uses them to create the ugliest websites imaginable. It's like giving people a chainsaw and watching them try to perform surgery. You're sitting in on a Netscape product meeting where they're discussing what to add next. Someone suggests a feature that lets websites push content to users. Another person wants to add native 3D graphics support. Everyone's throwing around ideas like they're playing buzzword bingo. The enthusiasm is infectious, but also slightly terrifying. Nobody's asking if they should add these features, only how fast they can ship them. This is Silicon Valley in the mid-90s, where moving fast and breaking things isn't just accepted, it's the religion. The cultural impact is immediate and bizarre. Suddenly, having an email address is cool. Business cards with URLs are status symbols. Local news anchors are awkwardly saying things like, visit us on the World Wide Web at http:// and reciting URLs like they're casting spells. The dot-com boom hasn't quite started, but you can feel it building. Every day, someone announces a new internet company with a business model that makes no sense. We're going to sell pet food online. We're going to deliver groceries through the computer. The VCs are throwing money at anything with a web address. It's like watching people bet on horses while blindfolded. You visit a traditional newspaper and watch them argue about whether to put content online. The older editors think it's insane. Why would anyone give away for free what people pay for? The younger staff argue they need to adapt or die. The compromise is to put some content online, but not the good stuff. Save that for print. This strategy will age about as well as milk in the sun. The porn industry, because someone has to mention it, is quietly figuring out what everyone else will take years to understand. People will pay for content online if you make it easy enough. They're pioneering payment systems, streaming video and membership sites. They're like the NASA of the internet, developing technologies that everyone else will eventually use for more respectable purposes. Universities are in chaos. Students are using the web for research, which sounds great until you realize anyone can publish anything online. Professors are tearing their hair out trying to explain why GeoCities isn't a valid academic source. The concept of information literacy is being invented in real time because nobody thought to teach people how to spot BS on the internet. The first banner ad appears on hotwired.com. It's Ferrata NT, and it says, "Have you ever clicked your mouse right here? You'll go to a place." It's so primitive it's almost art. The click-through rate is 44%. Today you'd be lucky to get 0.1%. But it's the beginning of the end for the non-commercial web. Pandora's box is open, and it's full of marketing executives. Amazon launches, selling books. Just books. Jeff Bezos is working out of his garage, packing boxes himself, driving packages to the post office. The website is basic, ugly even, but it works. You can buy any book in print without leaving your house. Borders and Barnes and Noble executives are laughing. An online bookstore. How quaint. They'll be fine. Spoiler, they will not be fine. The browser wars are heating up. Netscape releases version 2.0 with features that make web developers squeal like kids on Christmas morning. tables for layout, background colors for individual table cells. It's like going from finger painting to having a full art studio. Designers immediately abuse these powers to create websites that look like a rainbow threw up on your screen. Microsoft releases Internet Explorer 2.0, and it's adequate. It does the job. It displays websites. It doesn't crash too often. It's like a Toyota Camry competing against a Ferrari. But Microsoft has an ace up their sleeve. They're going to bundle IE with Windows 95. Every new computer will come with their browser pre-installed. Netscape sees this coming and cries foul. It's anti-competitive. It's unfair. It's also brilliant business strategy, and exactly what you'd do if you were Microsoft. The lawyers are sharpening their pencils. This is going to get ugly. You're at a web design conference where everyone's arguing about standards. Should websites work the same in every browser? Netscape says sure, as long as everyone supports their features. Microsoft agrees, as long as those features are theirs. It's like watching divorced parents argue about custody, except the child is the entire internet. The real victims are web developers who have to make their sites work in both browsers. The code is getting ridiculous. If browser equals Netscape, do this. If browser equals Internet Explorer, do that. It's doubling the work for no good reason except corporate ego. Yahoo launches as a directory of websites. Just two Stanford students, Jerry Yang and David Philo, manually categorizing the internet. It's like trying to organize a library while people are throwing books through the windows, but people love it. Finally, a way to find stuff without knowing the exact URL. The interface is clean, simple, just categories and links. No flashing graphics, no auto-playing music, just pure functionality. It's refreshing, like finding a quiet room at a loud party. Of course, this simplicity won't last. Soon Yahoo will transform into a portal, trying to be everything to everyone, but right now it's perfect. The social dynamics of the early web are fascinating. People are creating personal homepages with the enthusiasm of kids building tree houses. Under construction GIFs are everywhere, promising future content that will never come. Guest books where visitors can leave messages, usually just "Hello from Germany," or "This site rocks." It's wholesome and naive and beautiful. Web rings are forming, groups of related sites that link to each other in a circle. The Simpsons web ring, the knitting web ring, the conspiracy theory web ring, which is either a joke or deadly serious. Nobody's quite sure. It's like neighborhoods forming in a digital city. The concept of going viral doesn't exist yet, but things are spreading. The dancing baby animation, a creepy 3D infant doing the cha-cha, is everywhere. It's the first real internet meme, and it's terrible. But everyone's sharing it, emailing it, putting it on their websites. It's proof that humans will share anything if it's weird enough. By the end of 1994, there are nearly 3,000 websites. The growth is exponential, unstoppable. The web is no longer a curiosity, it's a phenomenon, and we're just getting started. The real craziness is about to begin. Welcome to 1995, the year the internet discovers capitalism and capitalism discovers the internet. It's a match made in heaven or hell, depending on your perspective. You're standing on Wall Street as Netscape goes public on August 9th. The stock price is supposed to open at $14. It opens at $71. By the end of the day, Mark Andreessen is worth $58 million. He's 24 years old. The sound you hear is every MBA student in America simultaneously changing their career plans. The gold rush is officially on. Everyone wants to be the next Netscape. Venture capitalists are prowling Silicon Valley like hungry wolves, throwing money at anyone who can spell HTML. The business plans are getting increasingly absurd. We're going to sell furniture online. We're going to replace newspapers. We're going to digitize smell. That last one doesn't get funded, but only barely. Windows 95 launches with massive fanfare. The start button is revolutionary apparently. But the real news is that Internet Explorer comes bundled with it. Not in the box, that would be too obvious, but available through the Microsoft network. It's like selling a car without wheels, but offering them as a free add-on. Netscape is furious, but consumers don't care. They just want to get online. You watch families crowd into computer stores, buying their first PC specifically to get on the internet. The sales associates don't know what they're selling, the customers don't know what they're buying, but everyone's excited. It's like the blind leading the blind toward a digital promised land. The learning curve is brutal. You spend an afternoon with a family trying to set up their internet connection. The father, an accountant who considers himself tech-savvy because he uses Excel, is near tears. The modem won't connect. When it does connect, it immediately disconnects. The ISP's busy signal becomes the soundtrack to their frustration. When they finally get online, their teenage daughter immediately finds a chat room and starts talking to strangers. The parents are horrified. Who are these people? Where are they? The concept that their daughter is communicating with someone potentially thousands of miles away breaks their brains a little. They make her log off and have a family meeting about internet safety that nobody really understands. JavaScript is taking over the web, despite being created in literally 10 days by Brendan Eich at Netscape. 10 days. Most people take longer to assemble IKEA furniture, and this guy created a programming language that will still be running the internet 30 years later. It's buggy, inconsistent, and everyone complains about it, but it makes websites interactive. Buttons can actually do things now. Forms can validate themselves. Images can change when you hover over them. It's like websites suddenly learned to dance, badly and with no rhythm but still dancing. The browser wars are getting nasty. Microsoft and Netscape are adding proprietary features faster than developers can learn them. Websites are starting to include Best Viewed in Netscape or Best Viewed in Internet Explorer badges, like gang colors for nerds. Real audio launches. And suddenly you can stream audio over the internet. The quality is atrocious. Like listening to a radio station from another dimension where sound works differently. But it's live audio, transmitted through phone lines, and that's magic. Radio stations are scrambling to stream online, not because anyone's listening, the quality is too bad for that, but because they don't want to be left behind. You visit a radio station attempting their first online broadcast. The engineer has no idea what he's doing. Cables are everywhere. The computer crashes every 40 minutes. But when it works, when someone in Japan emails to say they're listening to a local morning show from Iowa, everyone stops and stares. The world just got smaller. The first online shopping boom is hilarious in retrospect. Every company needs an online store, immediately, regardless of whether it makes sense. You watch a lumberyard, create a website, a lumberyard. Their target customer is contractors who need 2x4s and concrete mix. The website has beautiful photos of wood planks and a shopping cart that nobody will ever use. But they have a web presence, and that's what matters. The Amazon effect is starting. Jeff Bezos is still shipping books from his garage, but he's thinking bigger. The everything store is just a gleam in his eye, but he's laying the groundwork. The website adds customer reviews, recommendations, wish lists, features that seem obvious now, but were revolutionary then. Traditional retailers are watching nervously. Barnes & Noble launches their own website, a year late and millions of dollars short. They think they're competing with an online bookstore. They don't realize they're competing with the future of commerce itself. eBay starts as auction web, running on a personal computer in Pierre Omidyar's living room. The first item sold is a broken laser pointer for $14. Pierre emails the buyer to make sure he knows it's broken. The buyer replies that he collects broken laser pointers. This is the moment Pierre realizes the internet has a market for everything. The online auction concept is intoxicating. People are selling everything. Collectibles, antiques, used socks. Ghost in a jar, which is literally an empty jar someone claims contains a ghost. It sells for $50,000. The internet has discovered that with enough people, someone will buy anything. Search engines are multiplying like rabbits. Alta Vista, Excite, Lycos, Webcrawler, they're all fighting for dominance. Each claims to index more of the web, to be faster, to be more relevant. The truth is, they're all pretty terrible. Searching for Apple gives you results about fruit, computers, and someone's dog named Apple, in no particular order. You spend time with the Alta Vista team as they try to index the entire web. The entire web, all 10 million pages of it. The servers are running so hot they could cook eggs. The database is growing so fast they need to buy new hard drives daily. They think they're building the Library of Alexandria. They don't know that 2 Stanford students named Larry and Sergey are about to make them obsolete. The social impact is becoming impossible to ignore. Families are being divided into those who get it and those who don't. Thanksgiving dinners are becoming tech support sessions. "Can you fix my computer?" becomes the most dreaded phrase in the English language. Kids are becoming the IT departments for their entire extended families. You watch a 13-year-old try to explain email to his grandmother. She keeps asking where the messages are stored. He says they're on a server. She asks where the server is. He says it doesn't matter. She looks at him like he's speaking in tongues. This conversation will repeat millions of times across the world. The digital divide is real and growing. Those with internet access are accelerating away from those without. Information, communication, opportunities, they're all flowing through this network of networks. If you're not connected, you're getting left behind. Libraries are becoming unofficial internet cafes. People line up to use the public computers for their allotted 30 minutes. They check email, look for jobs, research medical conditions, and yes, look at porn until the librarian catches them. The librarians are overwhelmed, undertrained, and somehow expected to be tech support for the entire community. The first major internet scandal breaks. Time magazine's cyberporn cover story claims the internet is awash in pornography. The statistics are bogus. The methodology is flawed, but the panic is real. Congress holds hearings. Parents are terrified. The word cyber becomes synonymous with danger. The Communications Decency Act is passed, trying to regulate online content. It's immediately challenged in court. The judge's decision includes the phrase, "The internet is a never-ending worldwide conversation." He gets it. The law is struck down. The internet remains wild and free, for now. Microsoft releases Internet Explorer 3.0, and it's actually good. Like genuinely competitive with Netscape good. It supports CSS, which means websites can finally separate design from content. Designers rejoice. They can now make ugly websites much more efficiently. The browser wars are reaching peak intensity. Both companies are releasing new versions every few months. Each release breaks something that worked in the previous version. Web developers are pulling their hair out, creating elaborate workarounds for browser quirks. It's like building a house where the laws of physics change depending on who's looking at it. Intranets are becoming a thing. Companies are building internal websites for their employees. It's the web but boring and behind a firewall. Corporate communications departments are dizzy with power. They can force employees to read announcements by making them the homepage. The concept of push technology emerges. Instead of pulling information from websites, websites will push information to you. It's going to revolutionize everything. Spoiler, it won't. It's basically just email with extra steps, but venture capitalists are throwing money at it like it's the second coming. By the end of 1995, there are over 16,000 websites. The web has doubled in size multiple times. The growth curve isn't just exponential, it's exponential with a rocket strapped to it. And somehow we're still in the calm before the storm. The real chaos is about to begin. It's 1996, and the web is about to get its first real reality check. You're in a venture capital office in Palo Alto, watching money get thrown around like confetti at a wedding where everyone's drunk on the promise of infinite returns. The pitch decks are getting more elaborate, the valuations more insane, and nobody seems to notice that none of these companies actually make money. The term burn rate enters the vocabulary, which is a fancy way of saying how fast can we spend investor money before anyone notices we don't have a business model. Companies are burning through millions of dollars a month on Super Bowl ads, lavish offices, and foosball tables. Because nothing says serious business like grown adults playing table soccer during work hours. You sit through a pitch meeting for a company that wants to sell pet supplies online. The founder, wearing a t-shirt that probably cost more than most people's rent, is explaining how they're going to revolutionize pet ownership. They have no experience in pets, retail, or logistics, but they do have a website. The VCs are nodding along, mentally calculating their potential returns. Someone asks about profitability. The founder laughs. Profitability is for old economy companies. This is the new economy. Growth is everything. Get big fast. Winner takes all. The buzzwords are flying so thick you need a machete to cut through them. The check gets written. $50 million for 20% of a company that's basically a website and a dream. Hotmail launches with a simple premise: free email for everyone. The catch? There's a little tagline at the bottom of every message. Get your free email at Hotmail. It's viral marketing before anyone calls it that. Within 18 months they'll have 12 million users and sell to Microsoft for $400 million. Not bad for a company that gives away its only product for free. The founders are onto something crucial. On the internet, attention is currency. If you can get enough eyeballs, someone will figure out how to monetize them. It's the field of dreams business model. If you build it, the money will come. Somehow, eventually, maybe. Flash enters the scene, and websites will never be the same. Or more accurately, they'll be exactly the same but with unnecessary animations that take forever to load. Flash intros become mandatory. Every site needs a 30-second animation before you can access the actual content. It's like forcing people to watch a puppet show before they can enter your store. Designers are drunk with power. Text can spin, images can fade in and out. Entire websites can be one giant interactive animation. Users are less impressed. They're discovering the skip intro button with the enthusiasm of people finding an exit in a burning building. But Flash enables something genuinely revolutionary: online games and interactive content that actually works. Newgrounds becomes a playground for amateur animators and game developers. Some of it's brilliant, most of it's terrible, all of it's creative in ways that wouldn't be possible without Flash. The MP3 format is spreading through college campuses like a virus that everyone wants to catch. Students are encoding their CD collections and sharing them on network drives. It's not quite Napster yet, but you can see it coming. The record industry is oblivious, still fighting about CD prices, while their entire business model is being dissolved bit by bit. You're in a dorm room, watching students discover they can download any song they want. The ethics are fuzzy. Is it stealing if you already own the CD? What if you're just sampling before you buy? What if you're never going to buy it anyway? These questions will eventually involve lawyers, lots of lawyers, but right now it's just kids sharing music like they've always shared mixtapes, except the scale is infinite. ICQ launches, and suddenly everyone's available for instant messaging all the time. The uh-oh sound becomes the soundtrack of the late 90s. People are having entire relationships through chat windows. The typing indicator, those 3 dots showing someone's responding, becomes a source of more anxiety than the Cold War. Online dating starts with Match.com, and it's exactly as awkward as you'd expect. People are trying to reduce the complexity of human attraction to a series of checkboxes. Likes long walks on the beach becomes a cliché before the site's first anniversary. The stigma is real. Meeting someone online is seen as desperate, dangerous, or both. Couples who meet online lie about it, creating elaborate meet-cute stories to tell their friends. Meanwhile, they're pioneers of a social revolution that will eventually consume the entire dating world. The banner ad industry is getting sophisticated. They're tracking clicks, measuring impressions, calculating conversion rates. The punch the monkey ads are everywhere, promising prizes if you can click the moving monkey. It's the perfect metaphor for the internet economy. People desperately clicking on things that promise rewards, but deliver nothing. DoubleClick is building an advertising empire based on cookies and tracking. They know what sites you visit, what ads you click, what you're interested in. Privacy advocates are raising alarms, but nobody's listening. The ability to track users across the web is too valuable to give up. It's the beginning of surveillance capitalism, but nobody calls it that yet. It's just targeted advertising. Microsoft releases Internet Explorer 4.0, and it's deeply integrated with Windows. So integrated that removing it might break your operating system. Netscape cries monopoly. The Department of Justice starts investigating. The browser wars are about to become a legal war. You attend the Internet World Trade Show, and it's insanity. Every company that can spell TCP/IP has a booth. The swag is legendary. T-shirts, stress balls, branded everything. One company is giving away live goldfish in plastic bags with their logo. The fish probably won't survive the trip home, which is unintentionally symbolic of most of these startups. The news industry is having an existential crisis. Newspapers are putting content online for free, cannibalizing their print subscriptions. But if they don't go online, new media companies will eat their lunch. It's a lose-lose situation played out in slow motion. You watch a newspaper editorial meeting where they're debating what to put online. The editor-in-chief, who still uses a typewriter for important memos, is trying to understand why anyone would read news on a computer screen. The younger journalists are trying to explain that this is the future. The compromise is to put yesterday's news online, saving today's news for print subscribers. It's like offering free samples of stale bread while selling fresh loaves. CNN.com is updating multiple times per day, something newspapers can't match. When news breaks, people are going online first. The idea of waiting for tomorrow's paper to read about today's events is starting to seem quaint, then obsolete. The death of distance is real. Small businesses can suddenly reach global markets. A craftsman in rural Vermont can sell to customers in Tokyo. A programmer in India can work for a startup in Silicon Valley. Geography matters less than bandwidth, but the infrastructure is creaking. The backbone of the internet, the actual physical cables and routers, wasn't designed for this level of traffic. Internet traffic jams are becoming common. Websites slow to a crawl during peak hours. It's like trying to pour the ocean through a garden hose. The telcos are scrambling to upgrade their networks, laying fiber optic cables like they're racing against time, which they are. The demand for bandwidth is growing faster than they can supply it. DSL and cable modems are coming, promising always-on internet, but for now, most people are still using dial-up, still hearing that electronic handshake every time they connect. Internet cafes are popping up everywhere. They're social spaces where people pay by the hour to get online. It's a bizarre concept, paying to access something that's free, but for people without computers, it's their only option. The cafes smell like coffee and desperation, filled with people checking email, looking for jobs, and yes, watching porn in not quite private booths. The dot-com parties are getting legendary. Companies that haven't turned a profit are throwing million-dollar launch parties. Open bars, celebrity performances, gift bags worth more than most people's monthly salary. It's Gatsby for the digital age, all surface and no substance. You attend one of these parties in San Francisco. The company is launching a website that's basically Yahoo but worse. They've raised $30 million and spent $2 million on this party alone. The ice sculpture is shaped like their logo. The shrimp are flown in from Maine. Everyone's congratulating each other on changing the world, but nobody can explain what the company actually does. 6 months later, they'll be bankrupt. But tonight the champagne is flowing, and everyone's a genius. The backlash is starting. Old media is mocking new media. Print journalists are writing hit pieces about online journalism. It's not real reporting, they say, ignoring the fact that Matt Drudge is about to break one of the biggest political scandals in American history from his apartment. 1997 arrives with the promise of convergence. Everything will be digital, connected, integrated. Your television, phone, computer, and toaster will all talk to each other. The toaster part is a joke, except some startup is probably working on it. The smart home of the future is always 5 years away, and has been for the last decade. You visit Bill Gates' house, which is supposedly the prototype for how we'll all live someday. The walls have screens that display different artwork depending on who's in the room. Visitors wear special pins that track their location. The house adjusts temperature, lighting, and music to your preferences. It's impressive and creepy in equal measure. It also costs $63 million and requires a full-time IT staff. This is the future, if you're a billionaire with a fetish for home automation. For everyone else, we're still trying to program our VCRs. Amazon goes public at $18 per share. People are calling it the most overvalued company in history. It's losing money on every sale. The business model is growth over profit, which sounds insane to traditional investors. Jeff Bezos doesn't care. He's playing a different game with different rules. He understands something fundamental about the internet. Winner takes all. You watch him in an interview where he does that laugh. The one that sounds like a supervillain who just remembered a really good joke. He's talking about the everything store, about how Amazon will sell anything you could want. The interviewer asks about profit. Bezos laughs again and talks about the long term. Wall Street analysts are tearing their hair out trying to value internet companies. Traditional metrics don't apply. Price-to-earnings ratios are meaningless when there are no earnings. It's all about potential, growth rates, market share. The stock market becomes a casino where everyone's betting on which company will rule the future. AOL has over 10 million subscribers, making it the largest internet service provider in the world. Their CD-ROMs are everywhere. People are using them as coasters, frisbees, and art projects. There's a website dedicated to collecting all the different AOL CD designs. It's either ironic commentary or genuine obsession, possibly both. The walled garden approach of AOL is both its strength and weakness. Users feel safe in AOL's curated environment. There's chat rooms, games, news, all filtered through AOL's family-friendly lens. But there's also the real internet out there, wild and untamed, and more people are venturing beyond AOL's walls. You spend an evening in an AOL chat room watching the social dynamics play out. The conversation is 10% genuine discussion, 30% people asking a civil age, sex, location, and 60% bots and scammers. It's like a cocktail party where half the guests are robots and the other half are lying about who they are. But people are forming real connections. Online friendships, even relationships, are becoming common. The stigma is fading. The internet is becoming a legitimate social space. Netflix launches as a DVD by mail service. The website is basic, the selection limited, but the concept is revolutionary. No late fees, no driving to Blockbuster, no judgment from teenage clerks about your rental choices. Reed Hastings has a vision of streaming movies directly to computers, but the bandwidth isn't there yet. For now, it's red envelopes in mailboxes, a stopgap solution that will somehow destroy an entire industry. Blockbuster executives are laughing. People want the video store experience. They say, the browsing, the popcorn, the last-minute Friday night rental. They don't understand that people actually hate all of that. They just want to watch movies. The race to index the web is intensifying. AltaVista claims to index over 100 million pages. Everyone gasps. 100 million, the web is bigger than anyone imagined. Of course, half those pages are under construction signs and abandoned GeoCities sites. But still, the scale is staggering. Search is becoming crucial. The web is too big to browse randomly. You need a guide, a map, a way to find what you're looking for. But search engines are still pretty dumb. They match keywords without understanding context. Searching for Java gets you results about coffee, the programming language, and an island in Indonesia, all mixed together like a very confusing smoothie. Two Stanford PhD students, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, are working on something called Backrub. It's a search engine that ranks pages based on how many other pages link to them. It's brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of trying to understand content, just measure popularity. If lots of sites link to something, it's probably important. They rename it Google, a play on Google, the number one followed by 100 zeros. They're operating out of a garage. Their servers are literally built from Lego blocks to save money, and they're about to make every other search engine obsolete. But right now, they're just two nerds with an algorithm and a dream. The dot-com gold rush is attracting everyone. Lawyers are leaving firms to join startups. Doctors are learning HTML. English majors are becoming UX designers, which is a job title that didn't exist 5 years ago, and nobody can properly define even now. You meet a guy who quit his job as an accountant to become a webmaster. He doesn't really know what that means, but it sounds important and pays 3 times his old salary. He's learning on the job, which is fine because everyone is learning on the job. The entire industry is being built by people making it up as they go along. The term viral is entering the vocabulary. The dancing baby has given way to other memes. Hamster Dance, a page of animated hamsters dancing to a sped-up version of a song from Robin Hood. It's objectively terrible and absolutely irresistible. The site gets millions of hits, crashes repeatedly, and spawns countless imitators. Microsoft releases Internet Explorer 4 with Active Desktop, turning your Windows desktop into a web page. It's a solution to a problem nobody has. People don't want their desktop to be a website. They want websites to work properly. But Microsoft is determined to integrate the browser so deeply into Windows that removing it becomes impossible. The antitrust case is building. Netscape has hired lawyers. Lots of lawyers. They're documenting every anti-competitive move Microsoft makes. The browser wars are no longer about technology. They're about law, politics, and money. Mostly money. The internet is going mainstream in ways nobody expected. Grandmothers are sending emails. Churches have websites. Your local pizza place has an under construction page that will remain under construction for the next 5 years. But they have a web presence, and that's what matters. Online shopping is still scary for most people. Putting your credit card number into a website feels like handing your wallet to a stranger. The little padlock icon is supposed to make people feel safe, but it mostly just confuses them. Is the padlock locked or unlocked? Should it be open or closed? Nobody knows. PayPal doesn't exist yet, but the need for it is obvious. People are literally mailing checks to buy things online. The seller waits for the check to clear, then ships the item. It's e-commerce at the speed of snail mail. The digital divide is becoming a chasm. Kids with internet access at home have huge advantages over those without. They're learning to navigate digital spaces, to filter information, to communicate globally. They're developing skills that will be essential in the future economy. Meanwhile, kids without access are falling behind through no fault of their own. Libraries are trying to bridge the gap, but they're overwhelmed. The waiting lists for computer time are hours long. Librarians are teaching basic computer skills when they should be, well, doing librarian things. It's unfair to everyone involved. U2K panic is starting to build. The idea that computers will think it's 1900 when the clock strikes midnight on December 31st, 1999, is causing genuine fear. Companies are spending billions to check their code. Consultants are making fortunes fixing problems that may or may not exist. You sit in a Y2K planning meeting where executives are discussing worst-case scenarios, planes falling from the sky, nuclear plants melting down, toasters becoming sentient and attacking their owners. Okay, nobody mentions the toasters, but the paranoia is that thick. The reality is that most critical systems have been checked and fixed. The internet, built in the 1970s and 1980s, mostly uses 4-digit years anyway, but fear sells newspapers and consulting hours, so the panic continues. Domain names are becoming valuable. Someone just sold business.com for $150,000. Everyone's scrambling to register generic words. Pizza.com, cars.com, sex.com, they're all being snatched up by speculators who understand that virtual real estate might be worth more than physical real estate. The land grab is on. People are registering variations of famous brands, hoping to sell them back to companies. It's called cyber squatting, and it's legally grey but ethically black. Lawyers are having a field day. By the end of 1997, there are over 1 million websites. The growth is incomprehensible. Every prediction about the internet's size has been wrong, always too small. It's like trying to measure the universe while it's expanding. The browsers are getting bloated, the websites are getting complex, and the whole thing is held together with digital duct tape and the collective belief that this is the future. And somehow it's still working. 1998 opens with the world discovering that the President of the United States had an inappropriate relationship with an intern, and we found out about it from a guy with a website working from his apartment. The Drudge Report breaks the Monica Lewinsky scandal, and suddenly every news organization realizes the internet isn't just for nerds anymore. It's where news happens first. Traditional journalists are having meltdowns. How can one guy with a website scoop the Washington Post? Where are the editors, the fact-checkers, the institutional authority? Matt Drudge doesn't care about their concerns. He publishes first, verifies later. It's a new model of journalism that terrifies the establishment and thrills the public. You watch CNN scrambling to catch up, citing a website they would have mocked 6 months ago. The pecking order of news has been permanently disrupted. The intern with the laptop can now scoop the veteran with the Pulitzer. All you need is information and the nerve to publish it. Google officially launches from that garage in Menlo Park. The homepage is almost insultingly simple. Just a logo, a search box, and 2 buttons. That's it. No news, no weather, no stock quotes, just search. In a web increasingly cluttered with portals trying to be everything, Google is boldly nothing. The results are magical. You search for something obscure, and Google finds it. First result, exactly what you wanted. It's like the algorithm can read your mind. PageRank is working better than anyone expected. The relevance is so good it's almost creepy. How does it know? Larry and Sergey are still running this from a garage, but they're handling more searches than established companies with $100 million infrastructures. Their secret? They're not trying to be a portal. They're not trying to keep you on their site. They want to send you away as quickly as possible to exactly where you want to go. It's counterintuitive and brilliant. eBay is becoming an economy unto itself. People are quitting their jobs to sell full-time on the platform. The feedback system is creating trust between strangers. You can buy a car from someone 3,000 miles away based on their star rating. It's insane, and it works. The weirdest stuff is selling for ridiculous prices. A piece of toast with the Virgin Mary's face goes for $28,000. A haunted doll allegedly possessed by a demon sells for thousands. People are buying and selling souls, time machines that don't work, and celebrity toenail clippings. It's capitalism without limits or sense. Pierre Omidyar's broken laser pointer has evolved into a global marketplace where anything, literally anything, can be monetized. The American dream is now selling your junk to strangers on the internet. PayPal launches as Confinity, and suddenly online payments don't suck. No more mailing checks, no more giving your credit card to sketchy websites. Just email money like it's a message. It's so obvious in retrospect, but it took until 1998 for someone to figure it out. The dot-com boom is reaching absurd heights. Startups are going public with no revenue, no profit, and sometimes no actual product. The stock market doesn't care. If it has .com in the name, investors throw money at it. You attend an IPO party for a company that sells pet toys online. They've never turned a profit, they have 17 employees, and their warehouse is someone's garage. They're valued at $300 million. The founder, wearing a suit that still has the tags on it, is giving a speech about revolutionizing pet ownership. Nobody mentions that pets can't use computers. The browser wars reach their climax. Netscape, bleeding money and market share, does something desperate. They release the source code for their browser, open source it, give it away. It's either brilliant or suicidal, possibly both. Microsoft has won the browser war, but the victory is Pyrrhic. The Department of Justice files an antitrust suit. Bill Gates has to testify, and his deposition is a disaster. He's evasive, combative, and comes across like a villain from a bad movie. The damage to Microsoft's reputation is enormous. Meanwhile, from the ashes of Netscape, something new is rising. Mozilla, the open source project that will eventually become Firefox. But that's a story for another day. Right now, it's just a bunch of volunteers trying to salvage code from a dying company. AOL buys Netscape for $4.2 billion. Everyone's confused. Why would a dial-up ISP buy a browser company that just lost a war? It's like buying a castle after the kingdom has fallen. But AOL sees something others don't. Or maybe they're just desperate to stay relevant as the real internet threatens their walled garden. Instant Messenger becomes the communication tool of choice for anyone under 30. Away messages become an art form. People spend more time crafting the perfect away message than they do on homework. Asterisk tilde, asterisk tilde, asterisk gone to. The more asterisk tilde, asterisk tilde, asterisk becomes a valid form of communication. The buddy list is serious business. Your position on someone's buddy list indicates your relationship status. Getting blocked is social death. The door opening and closing sounds of people signing on and off become the soundtrack of computer labs everywhere. Online advertising is getting sophisticated and annoying in equal measure. Pop-up ads are everywhere. You visit one website and 17 windows open, each trying to sell you something different. Closing them is like playing whack-a-mole. Some are designed to spawn more pop-ups when you try to close them. It's advertising as psychological warfare. The first ad blockers appear, and it's war between advertisers and users. Sites detect ad blockers and refuse to load. Ad blockers get smarter and hide their presence. It's an arms race that will continue for decades. The dot-com workforce is unlike anything corporate America has seen. 20-somethings in flip-flops making six figures, dogs in the office, beer in the fridge, foosball tables and nap pods. It's either the future of work or the last days of Rome, depending on your perspective. You visit a startup in San Francisco, where the average age is 24. The CEO is 22. The lead engineer is 19. They have 40 million in funding and no business plan beyond get big fast. The office has a slide instead of stairs because walking is apparently too conventional. They're burning through $1 million a month on salaries, marketing and artisanal coffee. When you ask about profitability, they look at you like you asked about the horse and buggy industry. Old economy thinking, they say. This is about market share, user acquisition, exponential growth. The math will work itself out. Narrator voice, the math will not work itself out. MP3s are destroying the music industry in slow motion. Napster hasn't launched yet, but college networks are already flooded with pirated music. Students are building massive collections of songs they'll never listen to, just because they can. The RIAA is suing everyone they can think of, which is like trying to stop a flood with a coffee cup. You watch a record executive try to understand MP3s. He's holding a CD, asking where the music is stored on the computer. When someone explains it's just data, ones and zeros, he looks physically ill. His entire industry is about to be reduced to ones and zeros that can be copied infinitely for free. Amazon launches music sales. Books were just the beginning. They're selling CDs now, and they're cheaper than Tower Records with better selection. Traditional music stores are starting to empty. The writing is on the wall, in giant neon letters, but the industry is still in denial. Online dating is losing its stigma. Match.com has over 1 million users. People are finding love through algorithms and questionnaires. It's either the most romantic or least romantic thing ever, depending on your perspective. The success stories are mounting. Couples who met online are getting married, having kids, living happily ever after. The horror stories are mounting too. Catfishing isn't a term yet, but the practice is rampant. People lying about their age, their appearance, their entire existence. First dates become verification processes. Do you actually look like your photo? Are you really a doctor? Do you actually exist? The internet is making trust both more important and more difficult. You can connect with anyone, but you can't verify anything. It's the paradox of digital intimacy. We're closer than ever, and further apart than ever, simultaneously. By the end of 1998, there are over 3 million websites. The internet is no longer growing, it's exploding. Every business needs a website. Every person needs an email. Every opinion needs a platform. The infrastructure is creaking under the weight. ISPs are overselling bandwidth. Websites crash under load. The backbone of the internet needs upgrading, but nobody wants to pay for it. Everyone assumes someone else will handle it. The Y2K bug is becoming a full-blown panic. People are stockpiling water and canned goods. The media is having a field day with doomsday scenarios. Programmers who know COBOL are making more money than surgeons. It's the revenge of the nerds. The boring nerds who learned outdated programming languages. But underneath the panic, and the hype, and the absurd valuations, something real is happening. The internet is rewiring society. Communication, commerce, community, everything is being digitized, networked, and accelerated. We're living through a revolution, but we're too busy day trading worthless stocks to notice. 1999 arrives with all the subtlety of a monster truck rally. The dot-com boom isn't just a boom anymore. It's a full-blown mania. You're standing in Times Square, watching a sock puppet advertise pet food on a giant screen. This puppet, which looks like it was made by someone who hates both socks and puppets, is the mascot for Pets.com, a company that loses money on every sale, but makes up for it in... Actually, they don't make up for it, they just lose money. But they have a Super Bowl commercial, so they must be successful, right? The Super Bowl becomes .com theater. 30-second spots cost $2 million, and startups are buying them like they're going out of style, which, spoiler alert, they are. You watch these commercials with a mixture of awe and horror. Companies you've never heard of advertising services you don't understand with money they don't have. Napster launches in June, and the music industry will never be the same. Sean Fanning, a 19-year-old college dropout, has created a program that lets people share music files directly with each other. No central server, no way to shut it down, just millions of people sharing billions of songs. Within months, college networks are so clogged with Napster traffic that some universities ban it entirely. You sit in a dorm room watching students download entire discographies in minutes. Songs that would have cost hundreds of dollars are now free. The ethical debates are intense but brief. Free music wins over moral uncertainty every time. The RIA goes nuclear. They sue Napster, they sue users, they sue anyone who looks at them funny. Lars Ulrich from Metallica becomes the face of anti-Napster rage, which is ironic for a band that built its following on tape trading. But the genie is out of the bottle. Even if Napster dies, 10 clones will replace it. The concept of owning music is evaporating. Why buy a CD when you can download it? Why download it when you can stream it? The industry that controlled distribution for a century is watching its monopoly dissolve into packets and protocols. Google moves from the garage to an actual office in Palo Alto. They have 8 employees and are handling millions of searches a day. They still haven't figured out how to make money, but the venture capitalists don't care. $25 million in funding arrives because everyone can see this is special, even if nobody knows how to monetize it yet. The simplicity of Google's homepage becomes its signature. While Yahoo's homepage looks like a newspaper having a nervous breakdown, Google remains clean, white, almost zen. It's the anti-portal, and it's winning. People are setting Google as their homepage not because it offers everything, but because it offers one thing perfectly. The Y2K panic reaches fever pitch. Companies are spending hundreds of billions globally to fix the bug. Consultants who know nothing about computers are making fortunes running Y2K readiness seminars. It's the greatest transfer of wealth to the IT department in history. You attend a Y2K preparation meeting at a major bank. They're testing every system, every line of code, every possible scenario. The main discovery: most of their critical systems were updated years ago. The real problems are in ancient printers and fax machines that nobody uses anyway. But they can't say everything's fine because that would imply they wasted millions on nothing. So they keep preparing for digital doomsday. Blogger launches, making it easy for anyone to publish online. No HTML knowledge required, no server setup, just write and publish. It's democratization of publishing at its purest. Within months, thousands of blogs appear. Most are terrible. Teenage angst, political rants, and what I had for breakfast posts proliferate. But hidden among the noise are genuine voices, people sharing expertise, experiences and stories that would never have found an audience before. The term weblog gets shortened to blog because typing is hard and efficiency is everything. Blogging becomes a verb, then a profession, then an industry. Traditional journalists mock bloggers as amateurs, not realizing they're watching their own obsolescence in real time. TiVo launches, letting people pause live TV and skip commercials. The television industry doesn't realize it yet, but they're dead. The ability to time shift and commercial skip will eventually lead to streaming, cord cutting, and the complete restructuring of video entertainment. But right now, it's just a cool box that lets you pause TV when you need to pee. BlackBerry releases the first smartphone that actually works for email. It's ugly, has a tiny screen and a keyboard that requires Trump-sized hands to use comfortably. But it works. Email on the go becomes an addiction. The term crackberry enters the vocabulary. Business executives are checking email during their kids' recitals, in bathroom stalls, probably during surgery if they were having surgery. The always connected culture is born. The idea of being unreachable becomes quaint, then impossible. Your boss expects responses within minutes, even at 11 p.m. on Sunday. Work-life balance becomes a joke that nobody's laughing at. .com IPOs are reaching absurd heights. VA Linux goes public and gains 698% on its first day. That's not a typo. Nearly 700%. In one day. For a company that sells computers with Linux installed, the founder becomes worth hundreds of millions on paper in literally hours. The millennium approaches with a mixture of excitement and dread. Your 2K preppers are stockpiling supplies. .com millionaires are buying yachts. They don't know how to sail. Everyone else is trying to figure out if the party will last or if this is the beginning of the end. December 31st, 1999. You're in a network operations center, watching engineers monitor critical systems. The countdown begins. Everyone's pretending to be calm, but you can see the sweat, the nervous ticks, the fingers hovering over emergency shutdown buttons. Midnight strikes in New Zealand. Nothing happens. Australia, nothing. Japan, nothing. As midnight rolls across the globe, the great Your 2K catastrophe fails to materialize. Planes don't fall from the sky. Nuclear plants don't melt down. The most exciting thing that happens is a few credit card machines need rebooting. The consultants who made millions on Your 2K prep claim victory. See, our preparations worked. Critics point out that there was never much danger to begin with. It's impossible to prove either way, which is probably why Your 2K consultants are still driving Porsches. The world didn't end, but something has ended. The innocence of the early web is gone. What started as an academic project to share physics papers has become a trillion-dollar industry that's reshaping society. The boom is about to become a bust, but nobody knows that yet. The party continues for a few more months. More IPOs, more valuations that make no sense, more sock puppets selling pet food. Everyone knows it can't last forever, but everyone thinks they'll be smart enough to get out before it crashes. Narrator voice, they won't be. AOL announces it's buying Time Warner for $165 billion. A dial-up internet company is buying one of the world's largest media conglomerates. It's either the deal of the century or the dumbest acquisition in history. time will very quickly reveal it's the latter. Steve Case and Gerald Levin shake hands, and you can practically hear the old media dying, but it's not dying fast enough to save AOL, which is about to discover that dial-up internet is to broadband what a bicycle is to a rocket ship. The dot-com crash begins in March 2000, but that's a story for another time. Right now, at this moment, the web has won. It's no longer a question of whether the internet will change everything, but how fast and how completely. Tim Berners-Lee's little project to help physicists share data has become the nervous system of human civilization. Every business, every government, every person will eventually be connected. The web isn't just a technology anymore. It's a fundamental layer of reality. The calm origins of the World Wide Web are over. What comes next is explosive growth, devastating crashes, social revolution, and the complete transformation of what it means to be human in the 21st century. But at its core, it's still just computers talking to each other, sharing information, connecting people. The dream that started in that cramped office at CERN is now the daily reality for billions, and we're just getting started. Let's zoom out for a moment and appreciate what just happened. In less than a decade, we went from Tim Berners-Lee's proposal, which his boss called vague but exciting, to a complete transformation of human society. The web didn't just change how we share information, it changed what information means. You're back at CERN in 2000, and Tim Berners-Lee is watching his creation with a mixture of pride and concern. The web has exceeded his wildest dreams in scale, but it's also becoming something he never intended. Commercial, centralized, surveilled. The utopian vision of free information exchange is being replaced by walled gardens and advertising networks. He's starting the World Wide Web Consortium, trying to maintain standards, keep the web open and free. It's like trying to herd cats, if the cats were multinational corporations with billion-dollar interests. But he keeps trying because someone has to. The principles that made the web possible, openness, decentralization, and permission-free innovation, are under constant attack. Every company wants to own a piece, control a portion, monetize a segment. The web is becoming less like a public library and more like a shopping mall. But here's the beautiful thing. The web is too big to control. Every attempt to lock it down spawns workarounds. Every walled garden eventually crumbles. The web roots around damage, censorship, and control like water finding its way to the sea. You talk to early web pioneers, and they all say the same thing. We had no idea it would get this big, this fast, this important. They were just trying to solve immediate problems. Share research papers, connect computers, make information accessible. They accidentally built the foundation for the next stage of human evolution. The technical achievements are staggering. HTTP, HTML, and URLs, three simple protocols that scale from one page to billions. The elegance is breathtaking. It's like discovering that the entire universe runs on three simple rules, which, come to think of it, it kind of does. But the social achievements are even more impressive. The web took humanity's collective knowledge and made it searchable. It took our social connections and made them visible. It took our commerce and made it frictionless. Well, relatively frictionless. You still need to create an account and password for every damn site. The dot-com crash is looming, but it won't kill the web. It'll just kill the stupid ideas. Pet food delivery with no profit margin, dead. Selling furniture online with free shipping, dead for now, but it'll come back. The fundamental promise of the web, instant global information exchange, that's never going away. You meet with venture capitalists who are about to lose everything. They're still confident, still talking about burn rates and runway like they're not about to crash into a mountain. The signs are everywhere. Startups are folding daily, stock prices are dropping. But everyone thinks they're the exception. The crash, when it comes, will be brutal but necessary. It'll clear out the speculation and leave the real innovation. Amazon will survive by actually figuring out logistics. Google will survive by actually figuring out advertising. eBay will survive because people actually use it. The rest, digital fertilizer for the next generation. Looking back at the calm origins, it's amazing how unplanned it all was. Nobody sat down and designed the web. It evolved organically, chaotically, beautifully. Each person adding their piece, solving their problem, scratching their itch. It's the largest collaborative project in human history. And nobody's in charge. That's not a bug. It's the feature. The web works because nobody owns it. Nobody can turn it off. It's the first truly global, truly democratic medium. Sure, governments try to censor it. Companies try to dominate it. But the web persists. The technical infrastructure that makes it all possible is hilariously fragile. Undersea cables that can be cut by ship anchors. Root DNS servers that could theoretically be attacked. Internet exchange points that are basically just rooms full of routers. The entire web depends on a handful of critical systems that nobody thinks about until they break. But it doesn't break, not completely. The web has achieved something that no other human system has: true resilience through redundancy. Cut one cable, traffic routes around it. Take down one server, others pick up the load. It's anti-fragile, getting stronger from stress. The social infrastructure is even more remarkable. Millions of people maintaining websites, updating wikis, moderating forums, all for free. The web runs on voluntary labor, passion projects, and obsessive hobbyists. It's capitalism and communism, and anarchy all mixed together in a beautiful mess. So here we are, looking back at the calm origins of something that became a hurricane. What can we learn from this story? First, that world-changing innovations often start with someone just trying to solve their own problem. Tim Berners-Lee wasn't trying to revolutionize society. He just wanted physicists to share papers more easily. But by solving that specific problem in a general way, he created a tool that everyone could use. Second, that openness beats closed systems. Eventually, Gopher was more organized than the web. AOL was more curated. Various proprietary systems were more advanced. But the web won because anyone could contribute, anyone could innovate, anyone could participate, no permission needed. Third, that infrastructure matters more than applications. The web succeeded because it was just plumbing. HTTP, HTML, URLs, boring protocols that nobody owns and everyone uses. The exciting stuff, the websites and services, those come and go, but the plumbing persists. You think about all the people who made this possible. Not just Tim Berners-Lee, but the thousands of engineers, designers and dreamers who built on his foundation. The students who created browsers in their dorm rooms. The volunteers who maintained servers. The bloggers who proved anyone could be a publisher. They didn't get rich, most of them. The wealth went to the second wave, the commercializers and monopolizers. But the builders, the true pioneers, they got something better. They got to build the future. And they built it open, free, and beautiful. The web today is far from perfect. It's commercial, surveilled, and often toxic. But it's also Wikipedia, the sum of human knowledge freely available. It's Khan Academy, world-class education for anyone. It's communities of people supporting each other through crisis and celebration. It's still, at its core, about connection. The calm origins are over, but the principles remain: openness, decentralization, permission-free innovation. These aren't just technical specifications, they're values that we need to defend as the web evolves into whatever comes next. Virtual reality, augmented reality, brain-computer interfaces, whatever science fiction becomes science fact. Because here's the secret about the World Wide Web. It was never about the technology, it was about people. People sharing information, people connecting across distance, people building something together that none of them could build alone. That's the real legacy of those calm origins in that Swiss office. Not the protocols or the code, but the proof that humanity can build something beautiful when we work together. The web isn't done evolving, it's barely started. The calm origins are just the first chapter of a story that's still being written. And the amazing thing, you're part of it. Every link you click, every page you create, every connection you make, you're adding to the web. You're part of the largest collaborative project in human history. So next time you open a browser, remember that you're using a tool that was given to humanity as a gift. Free, open, and infinitely expandable. Remember the physicists at CERN who just wanted to share papers. Remember the students who built browsers for fun. Remember the bloggers who proved everyone has a voice. And remember that the web isn't something that happened. It's something that's happening right now with every click and connection. The calm origins are over, but the adventure, that's just beginning. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the forgotten history of humanity's greatest invention. Now go forth and browse, create and connect. The web is waiting for you.